I know. You just can't get the staff nowadays, can you? So. Oh, right. We are live in.
Oh, yes, on Facebook.
There we are. Whoa! Hello, everybody in now. So here we are. We are live in Facebook, Marion Scott and I. I'm just looking at my phone here to see where we are. Oh, God, it takes forever. But anyhow, let's get cracking because we are 5 minutes over my 8 o'clock and I do kind of like starting at 8. So tonight's guest, member interview chat, because as you know, every week, or even two of us two members every week are going to have a chat with me. I call it an interview chat. And it's just to be able to give back a little bit back to members and for all of us to get to know that person that little bit more. And it's lovely this because here we have today Marion Scott. Now, Marion and I have known each other for about 3 years now, I think it is. And we first came together in connection with energy healing. Now, if you don't know what energy healing is, just hang on, then we will explain it as we go on. But that was what we were in the same place at Shining Light in London Road, and I was doing Reiki out in India, and Marion was doing Reiki, theta healing, and were you doing hypnotherapy then?
No.
I remember.
No, we did hypnotherapy.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. So that, then the journey, with Marion and I, we became friends then, and we actually did, both of us, we ended up doing a hypnotherapy, clinical hypnotherapy together. Mm-hmm. So, but Marion, you haven't always worked with energy. You started out in Argyll. Tell us about it.
I was brought up in Argyll, Strathclyde, which is in the Cowal Peninsula. I went to Dunoon Grammar School, and it was an interesting time because we lived on a sheep farm. So we had some cattle as well, but it was mainly sheep. There was no arable other than hay and silage, but very, very little of that as well, because the biggest majority, it was a hill farm. So that was where I started.
Yes, yeah, great. And you stayed there and you worked on the farm with your parents?
No, I
went to
agricultural college. I went and did an agricultural secretary's course. And
I wondered.
That was really good because you got the mixture of both the secretarial side as well as the agricultural side. So, and the course we did was part of the management course as well. They had used part of the farm manager's course for our course. So we did things like the economics of it and all taken to trial balances and stuff. So it's something that has really stood me in good stead over the years.
Yes. And is that where you met your husband?
No, I met my husband on Arm because I went to Arm for 6 weeks and left 24 years later.
Oh, that's a real romantic story.
It was a real interesting one. I started off, as I say, I went for 6 weeks and I met my husband, and I ended up working in a food factory for 14 years doing food technology and quality control. So again, it was
interesting.
Making jams and mustard. Some folk may have heard of Patterson Arm or Arm Provisions. We were part of Patterson. We were the island.
Yes.
We did all the mustards and chutneys. We were the first ones to put dressings onto airlines. So we did a lot of work for Emirates and all these big airlines. We were a worldwide.
Yeah.
And if you remember
that actually. No, if anybody's watching as well, there is a time delay with Zoom here. So do, so I might speak or Marion might speak and we might speak over each other. So just sit back and get a cuppa and enjoy yourself. Okay, Marion, I'm going to shut up. Continue.
No, we used to supply boots. Their fancy baskets, their chocolate basket they used to do, and also their jams and mustards that they had at Christmas time.
Really?
Yeah, we did a huge amount of work for boots. We also supplied places like Fortnum and Masons and Harrods. So,
nice one.
Yeah, all these jars that have got hats and ribbons on them, we had to do them by hand.
Came from you.
That.
Oh, so perfect then. You'd be great for being able to wrap Christmas presents for everyone.
Not bad, actually. Can do a perfect bow.
Cool, dude. So from Arran, you came over to Edinburgh, is that right?
Yes. I came to Edinburgh 18 years ago. And I first worked with Lloyd's at Orchard Brae. And I always wanted to know what it would be like to work in an office. Learned very quickly I didn't like it.
No.
It was a learning curve and an interesting experience. Quite a lot of them were very institutionalized, so it was, and I don't think they'd ever met anybody like me, so that kind of didn't help matters. But I then applied to Virgin Trains as a train manager, and after about 4 months, I hadn't heard from him, and then I got a phone call saying, "You've not been successful with train manager, but would you like to come for an interview to work on the platforms?" And thought, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And I went and worked in Waverley platforms for 3.5 years. And then I got the opportunity to go on board and become a train manager, and did that for another 7.5.
Wow. Wow. So you're somebody who actually, you're great as an employee because you stick at a job.
Yeah, I'll stick it out. I was 14 years in the food factory and then 14 months with Lloyd's. And I was quite proud of the fact I lasted 14 months because I really did not like it. It was just, it wasn't.
So with all of that, you've brought up on a farm, you went to agricultural college, you went over to Arran, and then you came back, then you came to Edinburgh and worked at the Waverley with trains.
Mm-hmm.
What got you into energy work?
What got me into energy work? I'd had a couple of bad breakups and I dealt with them, but I hadn't dealt with the chatter in my head. And one of my friends on Arran had done a Reiki course way back in the 90s. And she had always said, come and try it. And it was kind of like, yeah, I will. And eventually I was talking to another friend and she says, do you not think you should really go and try this and see how you get on? And decided one Friday afternoon that I would phone up and see if I could get an appointment. And Julie got the appointment, went, thought this is brilliant, hopped off the bed thinking I'm coming back for more of this. And she went, I don't want you to come back. And I was like,
oh, yeah, how dare you?
what's wrong with me? And she said, oh, I'm so sorry. She says that's come out the wrong way. It's not, she said, you're meant to give this, not receive it. I was like, all right, okay. So I left it for a few months, and in 2009, this amazing roller coaster of a journey started, and it just gets better every day, really, because you don't know what's going to come along.
Kept going.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So with Reiki, and most people do know, I have heard about Reiki. I mean, you do other practices, but first of all, tell us, I mean, what is energy? You know, we hear it everywhere. What is it? You know, how does Reiki work? Is there an explanation?
Yes, because you can actually feel the energy. A lot of people will feel heat, some will feel cold, some won't feel anything at all. And the really interesting thing about it is you can send it anywhere in the world, and it comes from source, because Reiki practitioners are only a channel. It's not us that are doing the healing, we're just a channel. We're channeling the energy, because everything's energy, absolutely everything.
Right.
You know, all your furniture, people take a lot to get their head around that, but everything is actually energy.
Yeah.
And energy. And it also holds the energy of the people that have worked on it. So it's quite interesting.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
You know, one of the best things is if you're making a cup of tea and you're angry about something, that anger comes out in the tea. It won't taste as nice as if you were making it with love.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whoa. So every time, I mean, when you're making tea there, or making a meal or anything, we should actually be in a happy state of mind.
It's best to be in a happy state of mind, because the foods and your water and everything takes on the energy that you're putting out. Dr. Emoto, he did with the icicles, where he had hate on one law and love on the other, and the icicles were completely and utterly different. The ones that were love were beautifully formed, and the ones that had hate were broken and completely different.
Wow. I've seen that as well with music, where they did the water crystals, and with Waltz and Strauss and some of Mozart's, the water was, like you were saying, it was all nice and smooth and beautiful. But then when it was like heavy rock or metal, then it was that jagged sort of shapes. So even music can affect how we are. So we really have to be aware, haven't we, of everything we do?
Yes. Where our energy is going out all the time, but we're also absorbing energy from other people as well all the time. You'll find sometimes you'll go into a room and you'll be feeling really good about yourself. You know, it might be at a party or something, you're feeling really good, and all of a sudden you start to think, don't feel too great, and what's going on? And actually you're picking up somebody else's feelings, and you're starting to feel uncomfortable, but it's somebody else's. And it's kind of like, take it back. I'm quite happy, thanks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Exactly that. Because if you walk into a room where there's people having an argument, you can feel it straight away.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So you work with Reiki, but you also work with theta.
Yeah.
Now, do tell me about that, because that is something I don't know very much about.
Theta works in your subconscious because that's where you keep all your beliefs. You have 4 lots of beliefs. You have your core, which is your caregivers, your peers, teachers, guardians. You then have your genetic, which is your family, ancestors. You have your historic, which is the conscious collective, as well as the land and everything else. And then you have soul. So we make soul contracts to come back, to learn something that we may have not learned in other lifetimes. So these are all things, some of them can be interesting, to say the least. That one belief that I had was that if I couldn't pay for something, I would give my life. I did get rid of that quite quickly.
Wow. So, I mean, when you say that you can sense energy,
Yeah.
if you were beside someone where it just didn't feel right, but you had to stay there, I don't know, a situation, maybe you're working beside someone, or even a family member, and it doesn't feel, it just feels horrible. Is there a way that we can help ourselves not to take on their horribleness?
Yes, you can set up a shield round about you, where if you ground yourself and then protect yourself. So some people will just go into a ball of light. It could be any colour that you're comfortable with. But then if you felt you were taking on from somebody that you had to be in their company, but you didn't want to take on their energy, you can put yourself in the ball of light, and then you could put a gold mesh round about it. You could put a ring of fire around it, and then mirrors. So the only thing that could get through would be love, and the only thing that could get out was love. And that way you don't take on what they're putting out towards you. And it keeps you quite safe.
And all of that is in your head, in your imagination.
Yeah.
And you don't actually need to be too specific about it. Because some people think they can't imagine things.
But the thing is that if you speak it, everybody can, because they might not be able to visualize it, but they can imagine it. Because we all imagine, if we're going somewhere, we imagine how we're going to get there before we go. So, but they might not be able to visualize clearly how something's going to work. They just need to imagine that you're in that ball of light. You are surrounded by whoever you feel safe with, and grounded. And the quickest way to ground yourself is just stamp your feet.
Right. So so anybody who's feeling just not right, that's what to do is, first of all, stamp your feet. Do that. And so give us an example. But I'm still on this energy thing, because it is part of us. It's 100%, it's 101% part of us. And it's what you do, Marion, all the time. It's what you do. You work with the energy. So in an example of a day for you, how would you go about,
I tend to ground myself and protect myself. I have Archangel Michael protecting me anyway, so I'm not bothered about protection per se. But when I'm in the shower, I imagine any negative energy just being washed away down the drain, and I ground myself there.
That's a good one.
that,
Good.
and that starts me off in the day and set the intention around what grand and glorious adventure can I have today, which can, anything can turn up then, which is really good.
Yeah.
It depends what somebody comes and asks for, really, because I never know what's coming through the door. I'll know that I've got a theta healing session when I've got sessions and stuff like that. But a lot of the times somebody will come asking about confidence, and it's actually finances that's a problem, or vice versa. And it'll be about their finances and it's the confidence that's the problem. So usually what presents is not actually what's wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you mentioned Archangel Michael.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to admit, I'm not an angel person. I don't know why not. I am lots of other things, but I'm not an angel person. But there's trillions of people out there who are angel people. Mm-hmm. So how do you know that it's an angel or angels there with you?
They're with you all the time. You have two guardian angels. Before you know who you are, they know who you are. And they stay with you. One usually is a bit mischievous and the other's full of wisdom. It just depends. They don't all have EL names. There's a belief that they're not an angel unless they've got an EL at the end of it, but there's a lot that don't. But it is really interesting because they're around you all the time, and all you have to do is speak to them. They're ready to help, but you have to ask. And that's all you have to do is ask and thank them and let them get on with their job. And you can ask for anything. There's no, it's humans that put, oh, that's too greedy for a parking space, or, you know, we're the ones that put what you can get. Whereas they're open, they can, because they're omnipresent, they can be helping you and me and thousands of other people all over the world for completely different things. But there's no limit to what.
I never thought what you can do. I know that, I mean, I have for many years known that if I want a parking space, no matter where it is, if I want a parking space, or if I'm in a hurry and I want a green light when I'm driving or walking, I know that's going to happen, and it does happen. I never thought about it being the angels, but maybe. I mean, I do see white feathers all over the place, and that's a sign there's an angel about, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. They're around you all the time.
Right. Now, you mentioned as well manifestation. So I do have to say to everybody in now about the boiler, because I was gobsmacked. Really was. It was when Marion and I were on our hypnotherapy course, and we were in Hazel's house, and the boiler wasn't working. And I mean, we were all right. We were happy enough. And the boiler guy came, and no, the boiler guy didn't come initially because he was so slow. So Marion went through, and she did a little bit Reiki. Now, when you do Reiki, you actually work with you're working with your hands. So I didn't go with her. So I'm presuming she sort of wrapped her hands around the boiler.
No, just
and you know, and then she came. You just did that, all right? Then you just did that, and you came back, and I think at that point it hadn't decided it wanted to work, but the boiler man came and he went in, and it was working. And he actually said, you know, I was there when he came out, and he said, it's working. I haven't done anything to it. So you can just, you know, make up your own mind. I personally believe that the energy that Marion had created through her hands, as you said, Marion, it is source working through us, and that boiler worked. So we were warm for the rest of the day. It was fab. Give me another example of manifestations, because I know you have manifested so many wonderful and exciting things. And how did you do it?
Biggest majority has been with the angels, asking the angels. Asking the angels for £175 at 10:30 on a Monday night, because I bought a rugby ticket and then realised that I had a credit card to pay. And I'd asked them 3 times, and as I stepped onto the pavement, right, that's it. I'm leaving it with you. I know you'll help me. And I let it go completely. And from stepping onto the pavement to putting my key in the door, it's about a minute, 10 seconds. It's not much more. And my phone went as I put the key in the door, and it was a friend saying, "We're going to the casino. Do you want to come?" And I was, as you are on a Monday night, don't be silly, it's a school night. And then suddenly, halfway up the stairs, I was like, "Oh, hang on a second. Casino money. I've just asked for help. Okay, I'll go." There's stuff happened in between, so I didn't go right away. It was about an hour later. And long story short, I left the casino at 2 o'clock in the morning with the £185, the £175 I'd asked for, and my £10 stake.
My goodness. Wow. It's a wow. Yeah.
It was a wow. I woke up the next morning and looked at the unit just to make sure I hadn't dreamt what had happened. Other one, saying that I would like to go to Spain because my family was out in Spain, my aunt and uncle and my cousin were all out in Spain, had been out for about 5 weeks at this time. And my brother had just passed away, and I was lying in my bed, and I was, it would be really good if I had got a chance to go to Spain. I'd really like to, but I don't want to pay for it. And I just left it. And that'd be about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. And 9 o'clock at night, my cousin phoned and said, "My dad would like to come to the funeral. Fiona will bring him in. Would you fly back with him? We'll pay." Yes.
Wow. Yes. And I mean, it's something that's earthly. It's not something that's just been drawn out of the air, out of the sky. It is something that is tangible. That's what it's all about. And the fact as well that when you do want something, it is just, creating your intention as you did, and then being brave and just letting it go. Because, when you hang on to it, you're hanging on to that energy, aren't you? And it is telling source, it's telling the universe, well, I don't have it. So they're not going to bring it to you. It's profound. It is something I think that has to be experienced to believe. And, you and I. So, Marion, we have been chattering for our 30 minutes, but I want to ask you one more question here. This is kind of in a way to do with what you do, but it's about what good book do you think that someone would benefit from to help them in any form?
Yeah, I thought a good deal about this, and the one that had a huge impact on me was The Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy.
Oh, I don't know that one. Can you write it down?
He goes through all of the different things. He gives examples of everything, which is really good. So, it's not, he tells the story about a doctor who had or he became a doctor, I think it was, after he had been, all he could move was his eyes originally. He'd been in an accident and but all he kept saying to himself was, I'm going to walk out of here, I'm going to walk out of here. And within months, I mean, it's a well-recorded situation, and he walked out of the hospital. I think it was about 6 months or something, but they had thought that he would never move a limb. But he knew that this was what he wanted to do. There's stories around people changing their memory because we're very good at saying, well, I've got a really bad memory. And the more you say it, the worse it is. And he was saying, if you change that and start to say, I remember things easily, and the more you say that, how after a few weeks, it suddenly starts, you remember absolutely everything. So it's a really interesting book.
Yes. And also a good tip that you've just mentioned there, Marion, is that beware of what you say.
Yeah. Even what you're thinking, if you think the same thing frequently, you will manifest that. It will come to pass. And it's so easy to get caught in the trap of, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work, and guess what, it doesn't work. And it's about trying to stay open and not get caught up in how it's going to work. I think too often we get so caught up in everything having a linear way that if we just allow it, give ourselves a little bit of room to allow things. I had been asking, for example, today I'd been doing what we call an energy pool. So I was putting out my energy to let people know I was interested in bringing more students and clients once I'm back working properly. And I got folk messaging me and asking me questions on what's available, when's it going to be available.
Fantastic. So that really has brought it into the point of what do you offer to people? I mean, I know you carry out Reiki treatments and theta treatments and Metatronian, which we haven't touched on, but Marion can tell you about that later. But you also do courses.
Yeah, I do. I teach Reiki as well as theta healing. I must admit, I love teaching because watching people get it and see them change because they suddenly realise that they have this ability. We all have it. We just need to relearn how to use it. And it is such a privilege to watch folk transform from, I don't know how to do this, to actually, I'm really liking this.
Nice. Fab. So everybody who is watching or going to be watching on replay, I'm not sufficiently organised. I don't know how many interviews this is maybe like the 4th or the 5th members interviews I have carried out. And what I was supposed to do is put all the information at the top of this Facebook Live so that you can click on, for example, Marion's website, Marion's Facebook, anyway you can contact her. But I'll do that, I promise, straight away when we've finished our live. So if you want any more information about what we've talked about in any form, there is no question too silly, too daft. Marion or myself will answer that, pop it into the comments or message. And yeah, I mean, we're both of us, we're very much in the Now group. So it doesn't have to be now, that you ask your questions. We're all over the place in Edinburgh. We're networking here, there, and everywhere. And just ask us. We're here. We're here. So, Facebook guys, I am going to love you and leave you and switch off. I can't, if there's any comments, I wouldn't even be able to see them because my phone is actually froze, which is no surprises there, but it doesn't matter. We'll catch up anyhow. So I'm going to stop Facebook and love you and leave you guys. Mwah. And
Thank you.
catch you soon. Bye.